think that trust is such a key topic, and just really honored talking about Dell's story and how we're building trust with our customers and deepening relationships. So I wanted to start off and really talk about how businesses are facing a huge shift right now. If you think about it, there is so much clutter out there from an advertising perspective, as well as we've heard a lot from this morning speakers about a lack of trust. And what we're seeing is there's a major shift with consumers relying on peer-to-peer to make their decisions around products. If you look at Nielsen data, 90% trust recommendations from people they know, 70% trust consumer opinions posted online, only 14% trust advertisers. Think about the last purchase you made. If you're like me, I'm planning my children's trip for the summer, and how am I researching that information? Well, I'm going on Facebook, I'm going to make a post, I'm asking my friends what recommendations they have for a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, where I can pack a lot of objects for kids, and where should I go? I'm not going to traditional advertising, I'm not going to traditional websites. That's how I'm going to make that decision. So think about how you're making your product decisions now, how your consumers are making those product decisions. Some statistics for you. 80% of consumers are shopping online for products every single week. Another statistic, 2 years ago, we saw there were 10,000 conversations happening daily about Dell in English only. Now, fast forward 2-3 years later, it's 25 to 30,000 conversations. It is almost doubled, tripled in how many customers are moving online and having conversations. And then here's the scary fact for big brands. When you see big brands being searched, 25% of search results for the world's top 20 largest brands are user-generated content. So the brands aren't even controlling anymore what's being said about your products, your services, or your brand. It's based off user-generated conversations. So the thing that we need to take away from is how companies market, sell, and service is rapidly changing. Oh, I did leave out one actually fun statistic I did want to share. How many of you guys have heard of Edelman Trust Barometer? A few of you in the room, great. Edelman Digital does a trust barometer, they've done it for I think 13 years now, where they basically go out and see survey from consumers, who do they trust in regards to those in the company, media, industries. It's a fascinating report, you should definitely check it out. But one of the fun facts, just for this audience, I did want to share, is that in their most recent reports that came out, they basically said that a professor, an academic, or a person like you is 2 times as trusted than the chief executive officer or government official. So I don't know, some of you academics may say, well, of course. And I actually think it should be even higher than that. But I did want to throw out that fun statistic for the audience. Engage or die. So this may seem like a pretty dramatic headline, and I did steal this from Brian Solis from Altimeter. But we at Dell fundamentally believe that as a business, not only must you be listening to what your customers are saying about your brand and your product and services, but engagement is critical to your success. From that Edelman Trust Barometer data, about 5 years ago when they were actually looking at why consumers trusted a brand, it was based off operational excellence. That was the most important criteria. In 5 years, that's completely shifted. Trust and integrity, sorry, not trust, engagement and integrity are the 2 biggest factors on why brands are trusted. And what this means is that basically consumers are wanting to engage with those brands. They're wanting feedback. They want the company to take responsibilities for their actions. They want them to be vocal and honest and transparent in what they're doing. So I want to jump into Dell's social media journey. So at Dell, we've been in this space for over 7 years, and it's really been around how can we listen to our customers and deepen those customer relationships. For us, it's really been about how can we use this as a tool to embed across the organization to be a better business. And this is not just marketing. We believe that this is in HR, this is in product group, this is in sales, this is in finance, this is across the board as an organization. If you think about sales, for example, sales is all about relationship building, correct? Well, a lot of your consumers are online. What better way to understand what your customers are saying, what's top of mind for them, and get that intelligence and be a better salesperson as you're engaging in that relationship. So for us, and we also see it, it's not just the initial decision, it's the full circle in how you're making the choices around products. We also talk a lot about how it drives customer loyalty, innovation, retention. It's so much broader than just the traditional metrics. So Dell got in the space back in 2006. Michael Dell actually asked us to get into the space. We had some bloggers that were challenged and were wanting to have conversations with Dell. So we had a community outreach team that joined and got engaged. And literally, we talked this morning about having to build back some trust. We had lost some ground. And it took us having to be transparent and authentic and actually put real individuals out there and say, I'm sorry you feel that way. I'm sorry you're frustrated. Let's work on this. Let's fix this. From there, we launched our corporate blog shortly thereafter. And what I love about this is the first post they wrote was, real people are here, and we want to have a conversation with you. It wasn't about Dell amplifying, here's our brand message, here's our new product. It was, this is a two-way relationship. This is a dialogue. Let's talk. I'm not going to go through the entire chart. I know we've had quite a few things happen in the past 7 years, but the net of it is that we've gone where our customers are. We've gone to go listen and engage, take those insights back into the business, and learn from them so we can be a better, more effective business. And I'll talk about that in the next slide. This is our mantra: listen, engage, act. It starts with the customer first. You have to start there. And you think about any relationship, any basic relationship, it starts with listening first. You have to understand, what are people saying about your product? How do they feel about it? What's the sentiment? What do they like about it? What do they not like about it? And that's where we start. And I'll share more in the next few slides around how we are using listening to gather that intelligence. At the various highest level of those conversations, we started bucketing what are the type of conversations that we are having. What we saw was there were a lot of customers that had ideas for us. They actually wanted to be co-creating with us. They wanted to be part of the decisions around our products, our marketing. They wanted to actually answer questions on our behalf. They had a lot of great ideas for us. And so that was a really important nugget for us. And it's what launched Idea Storm for us, which I'll talk about in a few minutes. The other buckets of conversations were around customer needs. We saw there were a lot of customers, maybe they had technical questions, sales questions. What product do I buy? You guys just offer a lot. I just don't know. And so we saw we needed to address that second level of customer needs around questions. The third bucket of conversations was around customers have bought something and they're really excited about it. They're going online and they're talking about, wow, I just got this new XYZ and I really like it. Or they saw a new TV spot and they were really emotionally connected to it and they were actually online talking about it. I'll give you guys a perfect example. We launched a TV spot last year titled Annie, the Girl Who Could Fly. I don't know, did anyone see it? No? All right, well, I'll describe it. All right, one, thank you, great. Our media buy worked for one. So Annie, the Girl Who Could Fly, was basically talking about a young girl that used technology to basically put together a very clever video, and just showing how technology enabled you to do more. Just a very, very, very sweet story. And we got more just tweets and online conversations about this TV spot from a lot of young, just teenage girls. It was just really empowering to see the emotional connection with that. As a brand and as a company, that's an amazing opportunity to connect with that even further and to build that trust even further. So just kind of a small example. So we'll walk through some of the programs that we run kind of in those three buckets. And then getting to the acting part. Obviously, it's not only engaging, but we've got to take those insights and make better decisions. And as I mentioned before, it's across all of our organizations. It's not just marketing that we work through as an organization. All right, so I wanted to kick off with listening first. What you see right here on the screen, is our Listening Command Center, which we launched about two and a half years ago. This is funneled by Radian 6. It's based on our Round Rock campus, and it basically allows us to real-time aggregate all the 25 to 30,000 conversations that are happening daily and give us a high-level view of what those conversations are happening real-time. We can understand share of voice, we can understand sentiment, we can understand who our influencers are, who our advocates are. If something negative is happening, if there's an issue and it's across the board, we're going to catch that issue here first in real time. From this Listening Command Center, we can customize the data any which way. If we've done an M&A acquisition and we'd like to know how that acquisition is faring, we can dig into that. We can dig into our competitors and understand what's being said about our competitors. If a new product has launched, what are the conversations being said about that? Marketing campaign, you can go on and on. So this is critical for us to get a very high-level aggregate of that data. From this, we can also set up select profiles, and we actually have over 300 profiles that our employees use for specific topics of interest for them. Plus, we also do reporting from this. So employees actually get either daily or weekly emails, depending on their level of interest. So if I'm in small, medium business marketing, and I want to hear what are the conversations that are happening that week in the small, medium business space around technology, I get access to that email report that'll actually give me what's the conversations, what's the reach, and what's the sentiment. So I get a feel for how big are those conversations and how important. I also wanted to give you another example of listening and how we do this, and I think this one's really important. The first one on the left, CAPS Day. It's our customer advisory panels. So we started this about 2 years ago, and what it is was we brought together about 15 people that just really did not like Dell, and I'm saying that in the nicest ways, and then 15 people that love Dell. And we brought these folks together for 2 days. We had our executive team, our product group team, our marketing team, our comms team, and we sat down and we said, let's have a really honest conversation on what's working, what's not working. And so I think this was just a great example of just in-person active listening and how you get some really rich insights into what's working and what's not working. From that first CAPS Day, we received about 128 million Twitter reach from those 2 days. There were so many conversations. The other interesting thing is that folks that were not so positive on Dell left after those 2 days writing the most glorious, beautiful reviews about Dell, basically saying, hey, they took the time to fly me in and to have conversations and really listen to me and hear from me. And I think so much of that is just people just want to be heard. I think it's just a huge takeaway. Now, the other thing that we did was we recognized we had to make some changes on some things. So we made some changes. A year later, we did a reunion CAPS Day where we flew back in the same folks and we said, hey, you told us this last year. We now want to show you what we've done differently. And I can tell you, I went to that actual reunion CAPS Day. It was like the most amazing emotional thing. Like one woman was crying, going, oh my gosh, they listened to me. I told you guys to do this and you made that change. So I think just a fantastic example of how you can actively listen, not having to have complicated Radian 6 tools, but you can do this with your customers today, and they really want to have that two-way conversation. The other example is what we call our think tanks. And we started this shortly after CAP Days. It evolved from CAPS Days, where we recognized that there were industry topics that we wanted to be part of and to understand more. And so we started inviting about 20, 30 influencers on a specific topic like healthcare, like cloud, like customer service. We would have a moderator and we would panel a 2-day session. Now at this point, it wasn't about Dell. It was more about healthcare. And let's talk about what are the challenges and what are the opportunities? And that's a great way for Dell to host that and get those insights. So moving into the engagement piece, so IdeaStorm, I mentioned this earlier on the ideas and suggestions. We launched this platform in 2007. It's a crowdsourcing platform for those of you familiar with crowdsourcing, basically allowing our customers to come in and provide ideas and suggestions across marketing, product group, etc. Since the launch in 2007, there's been over 60,000 user accounts, over 18,000 ideas, and a lot of engagement on the site. Most recently, we recognized an opportunity to launch a particular laptop to a new target audience that we had never offered a product to before in this arena. We call this our Project Sputnik. We basically wanted to address this new audience, and so we basically went and found them through IdeaStorm, and we did what's called a storm session. And a storm session basically allows you to do kind of research online, kind of research focus group with this audience. We basically said, hey, we're thinking about doing this product. What are the features you want to see within this product? And so for us, it was a great way. The community was already there. These guys wanted to have input, wanted to have feedback, and we actually launched this product in a 6-month time frame, which is pretty phenomenal for how we develop products. And then you can see some of the statistics from IdeaStorm. IdeaStorm members are 50% higher in revenue versus non-members, and then purchase frequency is 30% higher, going to show you that when you have customers that are engaged, that are part of the process, there's more loyalty and trust to that. The next one I want to show you, it goes to the customer experience. We talked earlier about customers being challenged with purchase decisions, maybe technical issues. So we've got a team, it's called our SOS team. It's Social Outreach Service Team. SOS, help, get it? Come on. This team basically was formed to help with any distressed customers that are online that have a challenge. This team gets about 3,000 posts a week. They deal in 11 different languages. They've got a 98% resolution rate, and they've got what we have, a measurement we've created. It's a 45% ranter to raver. And how we measure that is a ranter is someone that is not so positive about Dell. Once the issue's been resolved, we look to see what they've posted. A thank you is not enough. They have to go beyond saying thank you for that to be classified as a raver. And it's been really exciting to see the posts that we're getting from customers where they've been serviced and they are so positive, and it's like, I will forever buy Dell. I will forever be a Dell employee. So by meeting their needs on these various sites, we're building some tremendous loyalty. From that, this team is also doing some incredible work in the sense that they're listening and they're gathering some intelligence around, there's some issues that are a constant for customers. So the team thought, why don't we be proactive and actually build some relevant content based off what we're seeing? Why don't we add this to our content roadmap so we can actually make sure that we're helping more proactively customers? And then on this last group that I've talked about in regards to consumers that have strong brand affiliation from us and they're going online and talking positively, one of the programs we run is called our Dell Love program. And basically what this team does is they go out and they basically listen for any conversations where customers have said something very exciting about a new product purchase, solution, service that they've made. And this team is basically going out and making these very short videos and then just sending them to these consumers. And most recently, we had a woman, Social Paparazzi. She basically got one of these videos, was so moved by this that she actually wrote a blog post about it. But I wanted to read this quote really fast. I thought this was really telling to the experience. By creating this video to thank me, Dell has successfully evangelized itself. I will go on and on about this incident anytime someone talks to me about Dell or seeks my advice while buying a computer. And so I act as an evangelist for Dell, which can possibly get them more business. So pretty powerful, right? So we like Social Paparazzi. So just wanted to show you the team to date is doing weekly videos, and the other thing that I think is so great that what they're doing is that even when you thank a customer, you've started that two-way dialogue conversation. So at some point, the conversation may change. If you think about it, they may say, well, hey, wait a second, so you're from Dell. Actually, I'm trying to figure out how to do this photo thing. And so this team is also preparing themselves for when the conversation changes on how they can address additional product conversations and be more sophisticated in that engagement. So these are just a couple of examples. There's a whole slew of programs, obviously, that we're doing. But I thought this was just a good recap of ways that we're trying to engage and build that trust. I did want to move on and talk a little bit about my area that I'm focused on, because I think it's really critically important that, all of this, you've got to drive that cultural change throughout your organization. And your employees are a huge opportunity for advocacy and engagement and really being part of that peer-to-peer connection. So we launched a university program around 3 years ago. As Marnie introduced it, SMAC University, the short name is SMAC U. And this is really around how do we train all employees around best practices, our policy, guidelines, tools, et cetera, on how to effectively use social media to be a better company. At the highest level, we have a policy. This is our legal document of all do's and don'ts, giving them all the best practices. We recognize, as beautiful as this legal document was, no employee was going to read it. And so we came up with 5 overarching principles that we instill with all of our employees. Number 1, protect information. Our customers' information is the most important thing. And lots of times people will put stuff online that shouldn't be. So it's critical that we make sure that our employees can call that out and help customers as needed. Number 2, be transparent and disclose associations. No one knows about the FTC rules, unfortunately. So we've got to educate our employees on that. Number 3, follow the law, follow the code. All these different social media sites have different rules, different regulations, so it's critical that we all understand what they are and follow them individually. Be responsible. There's a lot of things that we teach in regards to that. And last but not least, have fun and connect. And we thought it was so critical that we added that 5th principle in our, in there, because at the end of the day, this is about a relationship. And if you do this correctly, great things will happen, but you have to go in with that relationship mindset first and foremost. Obviously, there's a lot of governance to this. As Marnie mentioned, we've actually certified almost 8,000 employees to date. And so we actually allow employees to go out and represent Dell online, where they can actually have @Dell handles. That's a lot of trust that we have, but we feel through the education and through what we're offering employees and so many conversations that we're having, we've got to unleash these employees out there. And here's the crazy thing is that while we have almost 8,000 employees certified, I have seen 0 employees being let go since the certification training program has launched. We had some major boo-boos with employees before the training, and now that we've certified all these employees are understanding the power of social, the opportunity, as well as the risks, and taking it very seriously. And then I did want to show you one additional example. So we talked earlier about the Edelman Trust Barometer. And what was really interesting when we saw 2012, 2013 results, what we saw was credibility from the company has completely changed. Where historically it's been, the chief executive officer and where those messages come from, now what we're seeing is that consumers trust, top and foremost, academic or expert, so there's academics in the room, the technical expert, and then a person like yourself. So we said we need to think through, if that's the case, what are the programs then that we need to build out with employees to make sure we're addressing this information? So last year we launched what we call our Social SME program. It's our subject matter expert program. And what we did is we identified about 150 employees that knew a product or solution better than anyone else where we wanted Dell's share of voice to be impacted. And we took those 150 employees, they already had the basic certification training, but we took them through a very robust training program so they could really understand how to be a leader in that space. How do I talk about cloud computing? Who are the influencers and relationships I need to build with? What are the communities I need to be part of? And what we're seeing is that we're impacting share of voice, sentiment, SEO, influencer relationships, and ultimately we're going to be influencing sales because we're unleashing these critical folks. These are the folks that consumers and B2B folks want to connect with. So we've got to give them that voice and that platform to get out there. We are also, by the way, doing individual scorecards for every single one of them, which is a lot of work, but so we can actually prove out the value for each individual, which I think is really important for the work they're doing. So I wanted to close with a couple of thoughts. Trust is not a commodity. It cannot be bought. It must be earned. I will be really honest about this. In our 7 years, it has been a tremendous amount of work, collective team effort, and it is something, there's a lot of discussions around social right now, around, how much you rely on the agency, how much, internal teams own it. I think advertising agencies are fantastic. I came from them originally, but I think that we're talking about something completely different here, and this is about relationships. And who do you want to own that relationship? And I think agencies play an important part in maybe some of the strategic thought work and development, but end of the day, we came to the conclusion that employees need to own those relationships. The conversations we're having, we want those insights back into the business. We want that intelligence. Number 2, embrace all channels of communication, both offline and online. I think I gave you all great examples around CAPS days and having those in person. Those are extremely powerful. Obviously, there's some scaling challenges for us with that, but go out and actively pursue all those different communication opportunities. Number 3, provide opportunities for your employees, your advocates, your consumers to co-create and be part of the process. And I think you're going to all be pleasantly surprised on how much they want to be part of the process and want to engage. And we saw with Project Sputnik, the developer laptop, we had to turn consumers away from that. There were so many kind of saying, hey, I want to be part of this. So allow them to be part of that process. Hopefully you're taking away that engagement and integrity are critical to that trust building. And then last but not least, train your employees. I think you're all sitting on, lots of employees, hundreds of employees that can be huge advocates for you, building those peer-to-peer relationships, sharing the good works and exciting products and information that you have. So last but not least, I'll say, stop worrying about technology, don't worry about social, don't worry about digital, start worrying about who trusts you. So thank you.